Bitcoin is crashing. MSTE is under $3. Michael Saylor at MSTR is selling his Bitcoin when he said he'd never sell it. The sky is falling. What is going on? I'm going to explain everything in this video. And remember, before we get started, this is not financial advice. Do your own due diligence and research before investing because I'm just a guy on YouTube. All right, the first thing I'm going to tackle is MSTR. They sold Bitcoin. Should we all be worried? They said they were going to sell it. Now they sold it. So why did they sell their whopping 32 Bitcoin? Well, for us who hold MSTR or anything else that's MSTR related, it'd be in a perfect world, we would have S&P 500 inclusion. They got a B minus credit rating last time. And part of what they were critiqued on was that there wasn't a lot of proof that they could manage their Bitcoin to serve as liquidity. So selling some Bitcoin signals to the S&P Global that BTC can serve as liquidity, which is credit positive. This helps S&P 500 inclusion. Debt retirement. Another thing was, how are they servicing that debt that they had? That was also part of the B minus rating. So retiring that $6.7 billion in convertible debt eliminates maturity risk. There's maturity risk, but also it does signal that they're managing their debt properly as well. Then USD reserve rebuilds 12-month preferred dividend coverage S&P 500 requires. So they have all their preferreds. They got to make sure that they have at least 12 months of runway of cash USD to pay that. When they pay down that debt, I think that dropped to about 6 months, but they'll be building that back up to 12. So they need three things for that S&P 500 inclusion. They need to prove that they're willing to sell Bitcoin if needed. They just proved that. They need to prove that they're managing their debt effectively and they're paying it down. They did that. And now they need to have 12 months of runway cash, which they're down to 6 and they're going to rebuild back up to 12 months. So they could sell Bitcoin to cover the dividends on their preferreds like Stretch, or they could use some of their USD cash reserve to pay off those dividends. Or they could just have one trading day because they generated $143 million per trading day in 2026 off those preferreds. So one trading day covers about a month of dividends. There you go. 12 trading days cover a year worth of dividends. So they got three options. They've created a pretty good moat there, and it's not as risky as everyone would like you to believe. One of the things I like about MSTR is how financially responsible they are. So for me, no worries there. I was happy that they ended up selling the Bitcoin. I knew about the S&P 500 inclusion part of it. So I don't have any cultish thing of never sell Bitcoin. I don't care. I'm here to make money. So I was happy that they're managing their debt effectively. They proved that they can sell Bitcoin for liquidity and that they're going to rebuild up that 12-month reserve to signal that, hey, maybe we should be included in the S&P 500. And if that happens, we're in a whole different ballgame. Also on Tuesday, I'll be interviewing Joe Consorti. He is one of the top minds when it comes to Bitcoin on the internet. He'll be breaking down the whole MSTR situation as well. We care about MSTR. If you're an MSTE holder, that's one we want to be talking about. So he'll break down everything, explain exactly what's going on right now, what to expect in 2026. And if you use his podcast interview with the one I did with Benjamin Cohen, you'll have a pretty good sense of what to expect and what's going on. But before we do that, special thanks to our sponsor. Special thanks to our sponsor, Quantify Fund. They sponsor all the videos when it comes to me talking about Bitcoin. I hold ISBG in my RRSP because it's a US listed fund. It's spot gold, spot Bitcoin. So this is hyper relevant for this video because when Bitcoin goes down, I start buying because I'm a guy who likes to buy on the dip. All right. Thanks to Quantify Funds. Check them out at quantifyfunds.com. I also have a podcast episode with David, the CEO. You can see that at the end of the video or in the link below. Okay. This is Bitcoin, guys. Now, let's understand what is going on here. I have a Gary Gill Bitcoin channel, but now we'll be putting everything on this channel. I have a kid coming in about 6 weeks. I don't have enough time to manage both channels. So all my Bitcoin content will be here moving forward. It'll only be about 20% of my content. And don't worry, if you don't care about Bitcoin, you probably shouldn't be served it. The algorithm's pretty good at only serving my videos to the people who want to see them. Now, Bitcoin has crashed. I've been saying forever that it was going to touch about 80K. And when it touched 80K, it wasn't going to blast through. It was going to start capitulating down. And look, it's capitulating down. So I've been waiting for this. I wasn't panicking. I woke up in the morning and MSTE was at $2.96. I expect this number here. We're at 66,605 as of filming this around noon on Tuesday. I expect it to touch the 200-week moving average. That's that red line here, guys. So typically when there's a bear market in Bitcoin, before there's any sort of recovery and we get out of it, it touches this red line here for any new investors. So I've just been waiting on that. It didn't touch it back in February, so I just been waiting for it to touch it now. If it were to touch it today, it would have to get to about $62,000. So if it gets to $62,000, someone like me, this is not financial advice, starts stacking up on more things like ISBG because ISBG holds spot Bitcoin, or if you want to hold spot Bitcoin like IBIT, and then more MSTR at this range because then I know, all right, we're around the bottom now. But the bottom could happen in August. The bottom most likely will happen in October if you ask Benjamin Cohen. Please watch my podcast with him. So if it capitulates down and it touches this red line in the next month, I'll say it'll just go sideways all the way until October, where eventually recovers. That's a pretty good fair assumption. If it goes down now and then it starts rising back up to 80, then I'm expecting it to eventually touch this red line in August or in October. All I'm getting at is this isn't the worst. It's probably going to get a little bit worse. So if you hold anything that's Bitcoin correlated, be ready for more pain. If you like Bitcoin related stuff, though, it's a great buying opportunity. So get more ISPG, get more IBIT, get more MSTR. Ideally, Hamilton releases that B-Day Daymax thing right now. This would be the perfect time. If they just released it, I could buy in while all the prices are depressed. So this is my buying zone almost. I'm waiting till this red line gets touched. And then I start getting back in. Until then, I'm kind of just patiently watching because look how fast it's moving down. There's no rush. I personally have earmarked August of when I think it'll touch this red line or get below it, but Benjamin Cohen has October. Let's go look at MSTE. Here it is right here. This is the one that you guys all care about. So I've said I get some distributions from it. I say I use my distributions when it's within this blue zone here. That's between $3.40 and $3. We can erase that now. I think moving forward, I'll only use distributions when it drops below $3. But let's change this in real time now. I'll only use distributions now if it drops below $2.90. Anything else that I have will probably go towards my other positions like ISBG, straight MSTR, B-Dave Hamilton releases it. I have enough of this. I don't really need to keep building this position. There's just other things I can get now while the price is so low. So if it drops lower here, I'll use some distributions. But if it's ever above, $3 or, between 3 and 350, I'll probably use those distributions to buy other positions. But that's all I see. All I see right now is a buying opportunity. I'm not panicking. I was expecting this to happen. I've been talking about it for a couple months now on my other channel. So don't freak out if you are someone who holds ISBG, if you hold IBIT, if you hold MSTR, if you hold MSCE, if you hold anything else that's Bitcoin related. Expect prices to go down until August or really fast right now, or expect it to go sideways and then eventually capitulate in October. But really, all you want to do, if you want to super, super simplify this, go to TradingView, go to the 200-week moving average, open it up, and all you're doing is you're waiting for this red line to touch this red line. That's all. When that happens, you're within range. You're within about 15% max of where the bottom is. It could dip lower. This is where the February low was with this green line here. So it could surpass this. We could get down to, 58,000. There are some people saying it's going to go down to 40,000. If it goes into these ranges of 40 to $50,000, then I'll start allocating a lot more cash, but it will be towards cold storage Bitcoin, probably some spot Bitcoin, straight MSTR, way more of that. Yeah, and some ISBG. That would be my strategy, but I'm waiting. Nothing's really happening on my end until that red line gets touched. The good thing about what it's doing here, it's following something called the 4-year cycle. So if this just continues and it follows the 4-year cycle, guess what? It'll follow the typical recovery of a 4-year cycle, which means it'll eventually put in a new all-time high. The last one was around 126,000. So within the next 4 years, it'll create a new all-time high if it continues to follow the downtrend of a 4-year cycle. To get some good, you need some bad. So all I'm seeing here is it's following a standard pattern that it's always followed. Great on the way down, which means there's a higher likelihood it'll follow the same pattern on the recovery. You just got to last it. don't go crazy and start panic selling and doing all that stuff. You shouldn't have been investing in this in the first place if you didn't have a high conviction in Bitcoin or strategy. If you've watched this video and you don't even like Bitcoin, why are you watching this video? You should be outside doing things you love. Don't waste your time watching videos talking about things you don't care about. Go outside, go do a hobby that you really enjoy. Don't watch stuff about Bitcoin. But for us who are invested in Bitcoin and have strong conviction in MSTR and Bitcoin, don't worry. It's just doing what it always does. But once again, I'm just waiting for this red line to get touched. That's it. That's the whole premise of my thesis is touch the red line. That's my breakdown. Leave your comments below. Like I said, I'll be doing these videos more on this channel now moving forward just because I don't have time to manage 2 channels. Subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, check out that video next week with Joe. All right, bye guys.